Some like it hot.
Coming up, excessive heat, strong storms, flooding, and wildfires are all hitting different parts of the country.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. We could set more heat records tomorrow for the third day in a row, but relief is coming this weekend. Meteorologist Evan Hatter begins our severe weather alert day team coverage. Evan?
Well, Steve, it was yet another scorcher around the mountains this afternoon and into this evening. Highs today, well, we broke records yet again, and it is official. We broke records now at both of our local climate sites. High pressure's in place. High temperatures outside today. Jackson and London both ended up at 93. That breaks the old record at Jackson by 3 degrees and the old record at London by 1 degree. 96 today, though, in Middlesboro, 94 in Monticello. That's why the heat advisory, excessive heat warning continue. We've lost Claiborne County, Dickinson, Buchanan, and Lee counties in Virginia, but just assume you're under it because it's still hot. These are 11 o'clock numbers. 82 in Jackson, 81 Hazard, 82 in London. Dew points in the middle and upper 70s. It still feels like 91 degrees in Prestonsburg, 89 in Jackson, 87 Pikeville and Hazard. No cooling storms out there to help us out. So it's going to be a toasty night around the mountains, back into the mid-70s yet again. I'll have the latest breakdown on how hot we could get tomorrow and when we finally calm down and cool off coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
There is a nice moon outside tonight if you want to go out and watch that, if you can stand the mugginess, because it will hit you in the face. Well, excessive heat watches and warnings are in effect in more than a dozen states. Flooding and severe storms are also hitting some areas hard. CBS's Danya Backus has a roundup of weather around the country.
Flooding not seen in Montana in over a century caught residents along the Yellowstone River off guard.
My family lives at the end of this road, a couple friends too, so they're just pulling out. My brother, it looks like, and his dogs right now.
Days of rain and a rapidly melting snowpack pushed the Yellowstone River to nearly 14 feet, the raging waters washing away this house.
That is insane.
Tourists have been told to leave the national park. Video shows a rock slide narrowly missing a car. In southeast Wisconsin, a search and rescue team in Milwaukee found the body of a 10-year-old boy swept into a tunnel during a storm Monday. 2 adults are still missing.
We've got dive patterns going. We have surface boats.
That same system also hit the Chicago area as a powerful supercell, ripping roofs off buildings, knocking out power to thousands, and leaving many to deal with Tuesday's 100-degree heat without air conditioning.
It's a sign of what's to come. It's going to be a hot summer.
The heat stretched down south. In Alabama, Cindy Hanger was happy to be working outside her family's food truck for the day.
It's 110 out here. Think it's hot up here? Imagine in there.
And in Odessa, Texas, where temperatures hit 101 degrees, a water line break cut off water to the city. Officials passed out bottles to help residents handle the heat. Danya Backus, CBS News.
In Milwaukee, those 2 men are still missing. Family identified the boy who died as Mohammed Arman Rashidullah. Officials say he would have turned 11 years old on July 4th. The record high temperatures are affecting outside workers. With the summer season still officially 1 week away, temperatures are already reaching the mid to upper 90s, causing some outdoor employees to take extra precautions. Kentucky Transportation Cabinet District 10 spokesperson H.B. Elkins says the cabinet is doing everything it can to help crews battle the heat.
We've been preparing for this since the latter part of last week when the heat wave was in forecast. So we've been getting ready for it and letting the crews know what they need to do.
Elkins says workers have been encouraged to take plenty of rest breaks and stay hydrated in the coming days. With the heat comes the risk of heat exhaustion. As Emily Bennett reports, experts say days like this can get very dangerous very quickly.
Scorching temperatures and high humidity are no joke.
You can never be too safe.
With no cool down coming, knowing when your body is getting overheated is key.
Once you dry out and lose the ability to sweat and you start to reach heat stroke stages, you could even have seizures.
Heat exhaustion and heat stroke is something athletic trainer Tabitha Selvage watches for very closely at practices when temperatures climb into the 90s.
Kids always think of themselves as like an Energizer bunny. They can just keep going and going, but as a parent, sometimes we got to put our foot down.
Telling parents to keep their children hydrated with water and Gatorade before practice and keep cold towels handy.
If you need to cool somebody down rapidly, you can put it under their armpits and their groin area, and that'll cool them down quicker than just putting them in the shade by themselves.
When kids are outside, she watches for dizziness, cramping, rapid but weak pulse, excessive sweating, and fatigue.
That kind of lets you know, okay, this kid is entering into the heat exhaustion stage. We need to remove them from play, put them in the shade.
And when someone stops sweating, their temperature is above 103, and they have a rapid, strong pulse, heat stroke has set in. If you notice someone with signs of heat stroke, call 911 immediately and try to cool that person off until the ambulance arrives.
Start by sipping water. Don't necessarily chug water. A lot of people will chug. Just a slow intake of water will help rehydrate you better than chugging a whole bunch of water at one time.
Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
It's also important to keep kids inside and out of the sun if they have an outdoor evening activity so they do not drain themselves. The Pike County Sheriff's Department is holding its second annual Kids Day Camp this week. After COVID made their normal out-of-town overnight camp more difficult, they decided to do something nearby. On Tuesday, the boys' camp went out on Fish Trap Lake to look for catfish with the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife. Officer Aaron Thompson says it feels good to be back, making sure the campers have fun.
Last year they decided, hey, let's just do something local and let's see how it works, because it's better than doing nothing. And it worked real well last year.
Activities for the rest of the week include swimming at the YMCA, riding horses at the Muddy Boots Stables, and going to the Breaks Interstate Park. The girls' camp is next week. Officer Thompson says they still have a few opening spots, so just contact the Pike County Sheriff's Department if you're interested. Community members gathered for a flag-raising ceremony earlier today in Prestonsburg on this Flag Day. Local veterans, Boy Scouts, and Cub Scouts had roles in the ceremony, helping to pay tribute to everything the flag represents and honoring those who paid the ultimate sacrifice so we can fly it freely.
It's an honor for all veterans to watch the civilian places put flags up, and because it means that flag means the most to us.
The Floyd County Fiscal Court also presented a $50,000 check to the VFW in Prestonsburg. Those funds will help finish the Veterans Homeless Shelter. This evening in Prestonsburg, the Big Sandy chapter of the Sons of the American Revolution and Boy Scout Troop 147 held a flag retirement ceremony. The traditional process separates the field of United Blue Stars and the red and white bands, paying special reverence to each individual piece. Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, and members of the community respectfully retired more than 100 flags, too torn or dirty to continue flying.
It's a way to show reverence and honor to our country and for the flag that has flown for so many years and that so many people have given their lives for.
In 1942, Congress enacted a federal law based on the National Flag Code, and while it does not impose criminal penalties, it does offer guidance on how to properly dispose of unserviceable flags. The Challenger Center's STEAM Team Internship program in Hazard gives local high school students a chance to grow their knowledge and serve their community. WYMT's Zach Hawk has more on a community service project the interns delivered on Tuesday.
The Challenger Center STEAM team is just getting started for the summer. Hazard Independent High School junior Caden Couch is on one of his first community service projects.
It really shocks me because I personally have not done much before this, and that's why I really thank this program for getting me out here. And I'm really glad to be here, and it really hits me in my heart to feel that I'm making a difference.
On Tuesday, the interns delivered supplies to the Kentucky River Regional Animal Shelter as part of what will be a summer filled with community service opportunities.
The whole rescue shelter world, at least from what I know in the United States right now, is just completely overwhelmed.
Guided by STEAM team manager Joseph Collins, he says he wants the students to have unique experiences that prepare them for life.
We want to create positive change, and a lot of that is volunteerism, you know, helping these animals, helping anybody that's in need, really. That's a big part of what we do. But we also work on skills development with the interns.
The interns study science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, hoping to find a passion while building a better community.
It's amazing because if you look at my age group, you won't see as many volunteers. And I think these kinds of programs can really bring up the population of volunteers to help around.
Despite a big day of volunteering at the animal shelter, officials say they still need a lot of support. In Perry County, Zach Hawk, WYMT Mountain News.
The STEAM team wants people to know if you have a project that needs a few extra hands, they might be able to help. More information is available at WYMT.com. A rare and interesting find this afternoon in Letcher County. This motorcycle was recovered after it was reported stolen 3 years ago. The Letcher County Sheriff posted on Facebook that charges will be filed later this week. Officials said they are glad they could help the owner get his bike back. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, a shooting near a busy Kroger store in Lexington left several shoppers in fear. We'll tell you what happened.
Plus, our severe weather alert day continues through tomorrow as the hottest day of the year so far works in. The latest details coming up on the other side of this break.
What's the